Why is everyone suddenly nonchalant? I want to go over why being nonchalant is stupid. It's not going to actually help you in any way. And you're kind of falling for a trap that everyone else is falling for. This is going to be episode 1 officially of my gym talks, where I just vlog and yap my mind off before I go to the gym to not only practice my articulation, but use this as proof when I'm where I'm going to be to look back on and kind of relish. So if you want to be here and learn, great. If you don't, if you want to watch something more dopaminergic, go watch something else. But in this video, right, I think in the world, being nonchalant it's almost a social norm, but no one actually really likes to do it. And I think that's something a lot of rules we have in place kind of go hand in hand with, is that we have them set in place in the earth, in the world, in our governments, that, you know, we have to abide by, but not a lot of people actually like abiding by it. Now, being nonchalant, let's kind of break it down. What is it actually doing for you, right? Being nonchalant, I'm pretty sure, I don't know what the Google definition is, maybe I'll put it right here, but it's just being nonchalant, right? So you're not doing a ton of crazy things, you're being very low key, you know, acting like you don't really care what anyone thinks, or not even, it's acting like everyone cares, acting like you care about what everyone thinks about you because you're trying to act a certain way, to put on some certain show, to, you know, act cool. It's kind of like this idea of acting cool, acting scarce in a sense, you know, low access. And don't get me wrong, it's not like an inherently bad thing. Some people are just naturally nonchalant, right? They might speak less, they may not engage in conversation as much, they may give you one-word answers, and that might evoke an emotion of scarcity, of desire to talk with this person or some sort of charisma. But in the long run, you cannot have a relationship with someone who's nonchalant. What, are you going to speak to your wife and she's going to say one word back to you, or vice versa? You speak to your husband, he's going to, no, I'll get the groceries. I got you. It's like, what? That's not like who we are. That's not how we're supposed to communicate. We're very social creatures. We need to explain ourselves. We need to yap. We need to talk about our feelings, talk about how we think about things. So being nonchalant is just stupid. There's no, I mean, that's like flat out really no benefit to it. And especially when it comes to business and communications, again, being nonchalant is pretty much stupid. It's like, you can put on, there's times to be professional and there's times to be a little more loose, a little more silly. And you can, of course, be professional on calls, on interviews, meetings, whatever, and that's fine. But even then, a lot of the time people might go wrong because they're trying to be too professional and, you know, they're trying to say the right thing or use this framework or whatever it is. And then they end up, you know, not closing the deal or not actually hiring this person or not getting the job, whatever it is, right? And that's probably because they didn't show any of their personality of who they are. And that's something that's super important, is actually showing who you are as a person. People aren't just going to work with you because you can necessarily provide some sort of value. People want to work with you because of you, your personality. If you are invited to join some sort of big sales team on some huge offer or whatever you're selling for, maybe door to door, you're doing solar or whatever, and you get to that interview and it's really different vibes between kind of the way you sell or the way you operate and the way that they have their team running, I mean, it's probably not a good fit, right? Think of the Wolf of Wall Street. A lot of people in sales could not relate or actually be in that environment of like very high pressure, very high expectations, very, you know, manly, if you will, right? It's like a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that. Even if they aspire to, if they actually got put in that room, they would underperform or they'd fold under the pressure or they'd be the weird one out. And it's probably just because their personalities don't match, and that's fine, right? They can just go find their own group or found their own group, right? They can just go make their own group that is related to them, and that's like fine. But being nonchalant is the equivalent of going into that room and then acting like you belong there when internally you really don't believe you do. So you're going to always feel like an outsider, but you're going to be putting on a show, and it's just literally just a negative cycle. It's just a destructive cycle, because then you're in a place you don't want to work, but you're pretending like you like to work there, and you're never going to get anything done. You're not going to be fulfilled. You're not going to feel, invited, right? It's literally just a cycle of negativity. So I hope that kind of puts the whole nonchalant thing into perspective. But I also want to say, like, being yourself is a one-way ticket to every opportunity you want, right? Take content, for example, speaking to a camera, learning how to speak to a camera, but showing your authentic side on the camera, not putting on a show, not putting on, this whole scene behind it. It allows your viewers to connect with you and to see you for who you are, which I know sounds woo-woo, but it's true. People, again, are going to follow people who they fuck with, people who they would want to work with, people who they want to hang out with. And if you are always putting on a show and you're always kind of putting on like an actor's voice of some sort or a persona for the camera, it's like people aren't gonna be able to connect with you. They're just gonna, they can smell it. They can sniff right through it. That you're either trying to sell them something, or you're just, I don't know, maybe you're just putting on content but you don't know how to be yourself, right? And they just like, it's kind of icky, right? And I mean, on this channel, like, I'm going to be providing a lot of value. This channel is going to grow to many thousands of followers. If not, my goal is 100,000 followers in 2 years, right? That is my goal. And I know I'm going to hit that through volume and through testing and finding my format and whatnot. But it requires me to try a lot of different things. But all while I'm trying those things, I have to be myself. I cannot put on some persona, which too many people on this app struggle with, right? They just put on a face. They think that like it's going to perform better for whatever reason, or maybe they just don't realize it yet. And then they wonder why no one's actually following them or no one's actually wanting to work with them. It's because they're just a soulless floating head of advice and like value, right? They have no story behind them. They have no, in the life behind the scenes or like anything like that. And I understand a lot of people don't want to post a lot of that stuff on social media, which is fine, right? You don't have to post your entire life. I'm not saying that you have to post your entire life. Like you can keep your significant others close. You can keep your belongings close, whatever. But I think it's very valuable to just have more raw videos like this, right? Raw videos where you're sitting down and you're talking, and also just telling your story enough times. And that's something I'm going to be doing in my next video, is really breaking down my story, who I am, why I'm doing any of this, because it's really important for people to understand your why, so they can actually follow the vision and follow the dream. And obviously I'm iterating a lot of my videos, so you guys will never forget it. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap up my gym talk for today, before I fill the glass over. So yeah, if you like this kind of content, drop a like, leave a comment. Again, this is more just accountability and getting better at speaking to a camera for myself. So if you're here for the journey, very cool. You should join me. If not, then that sucks. I don't know why you've watched this far. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.